Frozen. Count us down when you're ready.
Okay, just a sec.
Oftentimes I go back and I have conversations and I think to myself, what could I have changed in my business? Not that I didn't learn something, but what could I have done differently? And I spent over a decade in my business questioning my decisions, wondering, is this the thing I should be doing? I made a mistake. Will I ever be able to bounce back? And the thing that I wish I can go back and tell myself, which is why I love speaking at events like this, because it's an opportunity for me to tell entrepreneurs at different time frames, everything is a learning lesson. The thing that I would go back and tell myself is that it's not a failure. You just got to pick yourself up and you got to keep on moving on. Somebody once asked me, what do you think your greatest asset is as a business owner? And I'm like, grit. It's the ability to pop back up. Resiliency. The exact word was resiliency. I believe my greatest asset as an entrepreneur is resiliency. I get knocked down and I keep getting back up. And I wish that I embraced it earlier on. I just thought, well, this is how I'm programmed. But in all actuality, it's a powerful asset. And it's not something you're born with. It could be something that you're developed. So that's the thing I hope to hone in again and again during tonight's chat.
Success for me is defined as doing what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and with whom I want to do it. I know that there's a lure to have success be defined by what other people think is materialistic things like a jet, a zip code, a Rolls Royce. And hey, if I got those things, I'm amazing. But if in the process of getting the jet and the Rolls Royce, I lose the things that are most valuable, like I have to check in with people, I have to have a schedule, I have to stay up and talk to people and go to long meetings, then the jet means nothing to me. If I'm living a wonderful, amazing life and I get to do it on my own terms and I get to travel the world with my husband and I get to make dinner for my family and I get to donate to charitable organizations that are close to my heart, I think I'm a freaking success. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about that. Does anybody have any questions? Let's dive into Q&A. Like, this is what the night is going to be. Yes.
Testing. Okay, good. So I've just kind of officially launched an event planning and programming service through what started off initially as an LA lifestyle website and blog. So what would you say is the best way to go about growing your audience when you've just first launched your service, considering that you came from kind of a blogging lifestyle website background?
This is going to be a thing that you'll hear me say. This was a thing that I learned in 2006 when I started my business, and every iteration since then, it's going to be content. But not content on what you do, it's content to what your consumer is looking for. And so, for instance, what do you think the person you want to attract, the person who's going to hire you, what do you think they're on Instagram or on Facebook looking for?
Unique spaces, unique vendors that are like florists or DJs or just maybe subject matter experts that can really contribute to their events.
Beautiful. I like where this is starting because this is a common misnomer. Common misnomer is that we believe that people go into Instagram and think, you know what? I need a unique venue. I'm going to search hashtag unique venue. Probably not. So what we want to do is what I call culture hacking. Not I call, like I invented this word. No, it's very common use of the word. Culture hacking would be, what are the popular conversations that people are having online and how can you create content to insert yourself in that conversation? So let's just say hypothetically, like J-Lo gets proposed to. The next thing that would be able for you to do would be like, if J-Lo wanted a really cool wedding in Los Angeles, here are 3 venues that we absolutely love. Then you hashtag J-Lo, you hashtag A-Rod. Are they together? Yes? Yes? I was like, I can't keep up. I was like, I still thought it was Casper for a minute, but okay. So you're gonna hashtag all this, you're gonna make your post culturally relevant so that when people are searching for it, they come across content. It has to be applicable. But what people are looking for. Now, yes, you absolutely can hashtag unique spaces, of course, but there's got to be something bigger at play. And I believe, I am certain, there are 2 forms of marketing on social media: searchable marketing and stumble upon marketing. Searchable marketing is the stuff that you put on blog posts that gets repurposed on Pinterest and that is searchable on Google. That's your content that you're putting out there. People are going to Google looking for event spaces. People are going to Pinterest looking for florists, right? So you're creating that content. But there's also stumble upon content. This is when somebody's on Facebook or on Instagram searching the J-Lo engagement hashtag and she's like, oh, I didn't know this venue was in LA. How did I not know this? And then she archives it because she knows that somebody's gonna be proposing to her in a little bit. It's about playing the long game with culturally relevant information on social, and then also starting the conversations with people in specific hashtags. You're located here in LA. I'm assuming you wanna work in LA. Geographic hashtags are going to be the best thing for you, and you're going to go through the hashtags, you're going to go in the rabbit hole, and you're going to comment, you're going to like, and you're going to comment, you're going to like, and you're going to comment, and you're going to like.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm such a big fan. I tune in on Tuesdays to your coffee.
Oh, and we just had like a real one. I'll see you tomorrow morning too. That's amazing. Thank you, doll. Oh, I think there was another question. Was there another question?
I kind of have a couple questions, but okay, the algorithm thing, how to defeat it. Basically, how do we work with it? How do we, because I know there's a whole system with the algorithm, so I'm just wondering how to defeat it to really build up your Instagram besides, you know, obviously giving to receive, and what else would you suggest?
So first things first would be a mindset shift, because anytime that we approach something that say to defeat something, we've already put ourselves at odds with a thing. So I would choose an adjective to understand the algorithm, and the good news is that Instagram has been really open about how they broke it up. The most recent Instagram algorithm, as reported by Mashable and by other Reddit, it's broken up by recency. Newest posts get hierarchy now, whereas before they didn't. So if you're not posting to Instagram or Facebook every day, you have less likelihood of actually participating within the algorithm. Relationship. So you and I will follow the same 100 people on Instagram. However, if we were sitting next to each other and we were to open the phone, the order in which we see our photos are entirely different. And the way that order appears is simply by your behavior and by my behavior. What photos did I like? What photos did I comment on previously? And what photos did I like and comment on that were related to that same industry, person, thing? And so if our followers are not commenting and if they're not liking, the algorithm is blind. The algorithm's not out to get you. The algorithm's just saying, if nobody likes it, we're not showing it to more people. Which is why engagement in the first, they haven't actually stated quite what it is. Between 10 minutes and 30 minutes, when you respond to comments back to people within that time frame, it gives it a little extra juice because they're in the app. This is going to be important. And also, behavior dictates all. So if you're in Instagram stories and you have a poll and somebody participates in the poll, or if they send you a DM, all of that is going and indicating to the algorithm, I want to see more from you. That's why I'm a big believer in responding to every DM, a big believer to responding to comments. And when we train people to talk back to us, the next time they see a post, they're going to leave a comment. So it's not a matter of how do I beat it? It's now I need to take a step back and say, of the past 20 posts on Instagram, which ones did well? And then you mark down these ones. And then you're gonna test it again. And if they did well again, then your only objective is to continue to create content that more people wanna see. And the posts that don't do well, we gotta kind of push them out a little bit. Were there other questions?
Yeah, but I don't wanna take them. I mean, one more quick one, because this one I haven't been able to figure out. So I'll push my Instagrams to my Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And let's say I have 500 followers on the Facebook page, but I only have, it will say only 20 people saw this, only 5 people liked it. Again, I'm assuming not everybody's seen it that follows it, and how to change that on Facebook, because I don't understand the Facebook as much as the Instagram.
So when you're pushing it from Instagram to Facebook, are you respecting the platform in that if you do like an @ mention in Instagram, when you push it to Facebook, are you changing it so that you're actually linking to the other people places, or things that you're referring to? Or is it coming onto Facebook and having a broken @ mention and a list of hashtags?
It will show up. The post will show up, like visibly show up, and the caption.
Okay, so we want to make sure that oftentimes studies have shown that when people are on Facebook and they're looking on Facebook and they could see that it was pushed from Instagram and it's like at Jasmine Star, but it's not clickable, and then you have hashtags like Clio, Boss Talks. Hashtags don't really work on Facebook, and so people on Facebook feel like they're eavesdropping on a conversation that's happening on Instagram. So why would they participate on Facebook? Because it just appears like you're not connected enough on Facebook. If I were you, I would, number one, stagger the content. So if I post something on Monday morning on Instagram, I'll post it on Thursday night on Facebook, and then I can have the same caption, but anytime I do an at mention, I'm taking it out and then connecting to people on Facebook. I'm removing all hashtags because hashtags like nom 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 or hashtag Clio, they're broken on Facebook. So I'm keeping the conversation, number one, relevant to Facebook, and number two, staggering the content, because studies have shown that people are in Instagram and in Facebook at the same time. They're flipping between platforms. But somebody who's on it Monday morning might not be on there on Thursday night.
But to add to that, would you push it to that? Like, would you push it from Instagram to Facebook, or just copy that post and place it? Okay.
I don't push. I don't push.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you do post, it says up at the top, posted from Instagram. And I don't want that. I want my people to feel like they can engage with me on Facebook as if I'm there for them, because there's a lot of people on Facebook who still really dig Facebook. And I want to make sure that they're not treated like, the stepchild to social media.
Right.
Oh, well, yes, we'll pass the mic this way. Thank you so much for those questions. And if we go quiet again, I'm going to turn to you and be like, boo. Okay.
Hi, thank you. This is wonderful. Do you use apps like Later and stuff like that to schedule your posts?
So schedulers on Instagram, caution would be that it has to be an Instagram approved partner. Because if you're using a third-party scheduler and you're not getting a push notification that you actually have to do it, your account could be penalized as a result. So Later and Planoly are all partners with Instagram, but you cannot automatically have your posts go from a third-party app to Instagram unless you have a business account. If you do not have a business account, your personal account will not automatically update. What instead you'll get is a push notification to say, are you ready to post? Then it will push you into Instagram to when you do it manually. Instagram is really cracked down on third-party apps because they don't want Instagram to turn into a sheerly marketing vehicle. They're gonna say, if you're gonna be accountable, we're gonna hold you accountable. I happen to really dig Planoly, but I don't use it as an everyday thing. I'm going to be out of town for the last 4 days of this week. I'll go to Planoly, plan it in there, then I'll get a push notification, and if I want to post that post at that time, that's when I'll do it. But it's not like a key component. I kind of have like an archive of images, and then I'm posting in real time for things like I feel.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Two questions. One is blogging with Instagram. So how important is blogging on the Instagram page or having your own blog? That would be number one. Okay. And where you're blogging more on Instagram than on your blog. And number two, I forgot what it was going to be. So we'll start with number one.
Okay, so question number one is, I'm a blogger's blogger. I started my business with a blog. I didn't have a website. I didn't even have a camera, like I'd mentioned. And I used my blog as a vehicle to talk about what my journey was, because I told my husband, I'm like, I'm gonna have this blog and it's just gonna be a document like my failure. I could look back at it and be like, this is why I went back to law school, because I tried it and I failed. So I was chronicling everything. Within 2 years, the blog was getting 25,000 unique views a day. So I am a blogger's blogger. Like, I'm a writer. I love it. I was connecting with people. I grew my business. So I was very slow to move away from blogging. I was very slow to adopt in Facebook and Instagram, because I was like, long form, like long live the long form, when the market had spoken. They did not want to read those long posts as much as anymore, if at all. So I was blogging every day. I blog like twice a week now, and I'm really only doing it for the Google juice and the pinnability. Because what I've started noticing was that there was a time where I would write a blog post, go to Facebook or go to Instagram and say, go read this blog post. And then, oh, this huge onslaught would go. That like died real quick in a span of like 8 months. Now, I don't even bother putting a link to my blog post on social. What I've decided to do, if it's a long form post, anywhere from like 700 to 1,000 words, I'll break it up into 3 social posts. But by and large, I'm just gonna get the meat of whatever that blog topic is and then break it down into a singular Facebook post or a singular Instagram post. And then I'm knowing that that's gonna be the content on the platform because that's where people want to experience it.
Okay, and I remember number 2. Thank you for that. That's very helpful. Number 2 is, do you have a social media manager or you do everything? That's so impressive.
It is also very annoying, I have to tell you. I know. But let me just tell you why. Because people hear that and they're like, you just roll.
I'm like, that's not Jasmine.
Yeah, no, it's me. Like oftentimes, and sometimes there's like a little bit of like a chip on my shoulder. People are like, this isn't Jasmine. Right after hot yoga, I'm disgusting. I'm like, yeah, it is. I sent a video, I'm not even lying. Because I was like, and I can't say this is gonna be the way this will be like next week. I can't. All I know is that as business owners, our only job and responsibility is to be in our zone of genius. If social media is not your zone of genius, hire somebody who loves it, who breathes it, but they cannot implement what you have not casted vision for. You can't get somebody who's 23 years old, no, they don't. They don't know who you want to speak to. They don't know the verbiage. They don't know the brand messaging. When you cast the vision and you can have a conversation and say, this is how I want to speak. This is the content I want to create. Here are the photos. Let's have a conversation. You record a voice memo of all your thoughts and then that person transcribes it and then breaks it down into 3 or 4 Instagram posts. You're killing the game. If your zone of genius is something else. My zone of genius is marketing. My zone of genius is lead acquisition. If it does not fall into those 2 things, I have to have a team. The minute you get into organization, the minute you get into finances, the minute you get into, no, that's not me. We bring somebody else into that. So people hear that and they're just like, oh, well, that's easy for you to say. But it's like, I'm playing to my place of power. If you believe it is your place of power, you should be nowhere else. Nowhere else.
Yeah. Is there a rule of thumb as to how many times a day you should post or how many times a week? I've heard all different things and I've tried different things. So I just wanted to hear what you have to say.
I once heard social activity, specifically on Instagram, equated to a diet. So the more weight you want to lose, the more you have to exercise and the less you have to eat. And I thought it was so apropos because that is Instagram. Like, how much do you want to grow? That is how much you show up. At minimum, I believe people should be posting once a day. If you want to grow and if you want to use it as a marketing vehicle for your business. Now, here's where people get overwhelmed. They immediately think, I need to post every day and talk about my business. And the answer is hell no. Please do not post on Instagram every day talking about your business because that's basically QVC on the Instagram platform and that's boring and nobody wants to hear about it. My advice, if you're going to show up every day on Instagram, 5 of the posts should be about things that make you social. Why? It's called social media. We want to know what you're doing on the weekend. We want to know how you're spending your holidays. We want to know the new pair of shoes that you bought. And traditionally, those are the posts that do better than all of the other ones when you actually talk about your business. So we want to be first and foremost social because that will drive the engagement. And then next time they're in their app, there's a higher likelihood of them seeing your business-related post. That is my advice at least once a day. Some people can post 3 times and they get the same amount of engagement. If you can post 3 times in a day and to get the same amount of engagement, do it. There are some times that I have posted multiple times in a day. I tested it and I saw my engagement dip, which the market said to me, we do not want to see Jasmine that often. Perfect. I peeled on back. Some people, they want to see lots and lots of. If that's you, God bless you. You are so lucky. Continue doing that. Once a day is always what my advice is. Thank you.
I have a question. So I love what you said about you don't want to be an influencer. That's not what you want.
No.
You don't want to like
if it's properly compensated and it's an equitable relationship for a company putting value on what it is you're sharing to a very ready and saturated market. Yeah, absolutely, but it's not there yet.
So for me, I've been on social for a little while now, and what my what I want to do is I want to empower and connect women. That's all I want to do. I don't care what my Instagram looks like. I don't care whether it has the special colors, you know, picked out and what. Why is it so important to have a grid that has very similar colors, and why is that so important?
Well, I feel like one of my power plays is to see patterns. I'm a pattern spotter, and I also know where things are going. I think that's what makes me a really strong business person, specifically in the social media sphere. And what I see definitely happen in late 2019, early 2020 is what I'm going to call a boomerang effect, whereas everything is so highly curated, highly beautiful, highly perfect, almost like a little too much. There's going to be a boomerang effect to people like, I want to see the real. Like, I want to see how things are happening. So in light of that, I actually don't think the grid matters as much as people have led us to believe. Why? Let's have a little social experiment. Of all the people you follow on Instagram, how many accounts in the past 30 days have you gone back to and looked at their grid? On average, how many times? And looked at somebody's, or how many grids, or how many accounts have you gone back in the last 30 days? What's a solid amount?
In 30 days. Thank you. In 30 days, I would say maybe like 5 accounts a day. So about 35 accounts, because it's a business.
And how many accounts do you follow?
750.
So 35 out of 750, one woman out of 30. People aren't looking at grids. You do it specifically because of what you do as a business, but the vast majority of us are not. So we have to take into consideration that our grid is there for new followers. And what I think is more important than the grid for new followers is what I call an Instagram boss bio. If people don't know what you do, or how your service is there to empower them, help them, or diminish fear, you can have the prettiest grid, but guess what, boo? There's too many pretty grids now. You have to tell people the benefit of what you do, period. You have 3 seconds to convince me when I'm on your feed, what are you gonna do for me? And yes, I sound like an entitled, petulant child, but that is what social media has become. We have a plethora, we have a buffet of great resources for us to choose from. How and why are we gonna follow your specific account? Boss Bio is broken up into 5 very simple things. Number 1, your title. I need to know what you do, and you need to explain it to me like you're 5 years old. I don't wanna hear that you're a purveyor of fine memories and family heirlooms when what you are is a photographer. Number 2, I need you, so that's number 1 in description. Number 2 is the benefits. Why should I follow you? Like, legitimately, what are you gonna give me? If you're in the fitness sphere, do I get workouts? Do I get shopping lists? Do I get recipes? Why am I following you? Number 3, it's who it's for. This is your opportunity to put a stake in the ground and make it very clear who your business is for. Men, women, busy moms, single dads, young entrepreneurs, very clear. Number 3, your contact information. This is so basic, but it is literally my job to go through social profiles and realize people are including how to get in contact with you. And then number 5 is a lead magnet or a lead acquisition. Oftentimes people will point out to an article they did in Forbes or to a YouTube video, but that's not lead acquisition. I'm always pointing people to a way to grow my newsletter list, because when they're on my newsletter list, I then have 2 opportunities to sell them. 1 on social media, 1 via email. I now have double the amount of contact that I could possibly have with a prospective customer, and that is always my objective. So those are gonna be the 5 things. You have 150 characters, you have to fit that all in. Your description, the benefits, who it's for, your contact information, and a lead magnet to extend the conversation you're having online. Grids are beautiful, grids are important, but they are not half as important as we want to put on them. Having said that, it's going to be super important for us to understand that Instagram, unlike every other social platform on the web, was built solely as a visual storytelling platform, period. And if we don't understand that, if we don't respect that, we can put our heels in the ground and say, I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm not saying that you do at all. But in the back of your mind being like, I want to rage against the perfect. And that could totally work. But you're forgetting how it came to be. The people who have been met with the most success understand visual aesthetics. We're not talking about perfection. We're not talking about perfect beauty. We're talking about what looks good. And I know that traditionally colors blend, light blends, captions blend. I like to describe our Instagram accounts as a magazine that we get to curate. What type of photos, what type of captions, what type of editorials, what type of videos do you want to put in your magazine? If you're not proud of the magazine, you have the opportunity to change the content as a result.
What are your tips on turning your followers into paying clients if you have a service like event planning?
Number one tip is to throw away any idea or concept of what we think is the right amount of time for them to become a customer. The minute we think, oh, they've been following me for 5 months, they've been following me a year, is when the minute we've lost the game. Because if we consistently show up, we talk about micro conversions that lead to sales. All your objective is to do is to make me like you, know you, and trust you more. Day after day after day after day. And the only way you make that happen is if you speak your truth, if you show up consistently, and you give me a peek of the thing that you are selling. What do? Event planning. You do event planning. So your objective is to show me behind the scenes of what you do for your clients. And in our minds as business owners, we think, I can't show everything I do. I can't tag all my vendors. I can't show the timeline. I can't do these things. But if you are so good at what you do, you're confident in sharing it all, knowing they can't do it. Or they're not busy enough. Or, they're too busy to do it. Or they really just want to abdicate those responsibilities because they're not confident in their level of taste. If I were you, at least every other day, I'd be creating stories. So I've drafted this timeline. I had conversations. 2 things to consider is when it comes to family photos, sometimes people are divorced. 2 tips for divorced families would be X and Y. And here are the questions that I'll save for my brides when we have a conversation. These are the 3 of them. Good thing about stories is that they disappear. You could share. Your grid should be before and afters. If you have your phone, you could set it up on a time lens in a ballroom and you could show a transformation in 60 seconds of what you do. You're immediately set apart from everybody else. You just have to show what you do. You have to give everything away. You have to create value. You have to make people feel smarter for watching your feed. You have to make them feel like they like you because you've built trust with them, and then they buy from you. And especially if you're in the long game. You said weddings, right? Events in general. We have to understand that when somebody has a large budget, they're not planning 6 weeks in advance. Most of the time, they're planning years out in advance. So if you want to book somebody in 2020, you're understanding that they're following you now so that they can book you in 2019 so their events in 2020. You, my friend, are playing the long game, and that's okay because I played that for a hot minute. But when you build momentum, you're done. I'm telling you, when momentum hits, you're good. You just got to show up every single day.
Great. Just a quick question again on my end. We were talking about the bio part of the Instagram section. What's your take on like Linktree and things like that? Do you think we should have just one link, which is like kind of the lead magnet that you're talking about, or is it okay to kind of post on a Linktree?
So it depends on the nature of the business. I don't have a hard and fast yes or no. All I know is that if you are going to use Linktree or Tap Bio, your objective on each of those links should be pointing to lead acquisition, period, the end. It shouldn't be pointing out to a third-party source where you lose the visibility.
Your content.
Yeah. 1,000%. If I had a lot of affiliate links, if I had a weekly podcast, if I had a Facebook watch channel where I'm constantly updating, it might make sense for me to then have a link tree pointing out to all of those resources because I know on my end I would have lead acquisition on one of those things. But as for me right now, my goal is just to get something juicy in the exit link to build that trust and get them on my list.
And just to piggyback on that, what is the #1 lead magnet that you think for someone starting to kind of grow their business would be really key?
Oh, it depends 1,000% on the industry. So the question you have to then ask is, who is following me and what do they want to know? Or actually, who is not yet following me? And what do they want to know? And there's a good chance that if you're getting into the event, into the event world, it would be timings for weddings, timings for parties, timings for bat mitzvahs. Each of those are standalones. It would be how to select a color palette based on the time of the year for the event that you're having.
Even if it's niche, even if you're going niche.
Oh, if you're going niche, this is even better. I mean,
okay.
what's your niche?
I'm kind of doing more like small businesses, solopreneurs, looking to like launch their workshops or
Oh my
smaller
God.
private client events.
That's amazing. Like, look it. There's riches in niches. You get a lead magnet for small business owners hosting their first event, being like the 5 things that a small business owner needs to know before they do their first workshop, before they do their first seminar. Then you just play on the keywords, same resources, talking about different titles, test which works, put money behind it. You're going to win all day. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love that niche.
What do you think about videos that are edited and have like captions and everything before and after the experience, like getting ready and then after the show? Or would it just be like live Facebook video before and after?
All of it.
And then the time. How
All
long
of it.
should it be?
Here's the thing. The beauty about this is that I do not think I have the answers. Your market will give you the answers. 1,000%. Our job is just to watch what the market is saying. So your first objective is to go on Facebook Live and do one for 8 minutes. Pre-show, what are you doing? What's the makeup you use? What's the light? What's the hair wrap you use? What are your favorite things? What are your not favorite things? A few days later, you're gonna do another Facebook Live, and this time you're gonna do it for 18 minutes. And then you're gonna see which one worked. And then if you're like, whoa, the 18 minutes one killed, I'm gonna do 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden you saw it tank. And then you're like, okay, the market will tell you what they want to see more of. Then what you're going to do is you're going to hire a videographer. You're going to get a friend or somebody. They're going to shoot you on the iPhone X. And they're going to put it all together. They're going to edit it in iMovie. And you're going to test it out for 60 seconds. You're going to have something similar. You're going to do it out for 6 minutes. Which one worked between the two? I mean, it's literally you're going to create a bunch of content again and again. The market will speak to you if we are willing to pay attention. I love all of your ideas. And the beauty about what you do is you're a content machine. What you do is creativity. You have a higher likelihood of doing something really cool that goes viral because it's like body movement, your unique look, like who you are. Just create, test, test, test. That's it. Every day, boo-boo, you gotta put out a video. Not even lying. Yes.
Hi, I'm Fifi. So I'm an artist and I have 2 social media accounts. One is one I've had since the beginning and it's under just Fifi Rose. And I have maybe about 2,000 followers. And then I've started Fifi Rose Studio, which is more of my creative studio, more of my creations. And I wonder if you have any suggestions. I'm trying to push, I guess, some of my audience to, I'm posting less art on Fifi Rose and wanting people to go to Fifi Rose Studio to see more of it and more of the process. And yeah.
They won't. You want to know why? Because if Picasso were around, we would want to see Picasso hang out with Gertrude Stein and John Steinbeck. We'd want to see the people he's hanging out with, those Paris coffee shops. We want to see the liquor that he's drinking, what he's creating. We want to see where he's sleeping, where he's waking up. We want to see where he buys his art supplies. We want to support Picasso maybe even a little bit more than we want to buy his paintings. And you, my friend, are cute and you're adorable and people want to support Fifi Rose. And what you want them to do is support Fifi Rose Studios, but they're saying, we want to buy something from you because it's you. And so the only way you're going to get more people to your studio account is if, guess what? You show up on the studio account.
Right. So I'm thinking like, it should be like the studio should have like be strong in its own following, just focus on growing that in its own way versus trying to convert people.
Absolutely. And what was your reasoning for breaking the two of them up?
Well, most artists, like a lot of them have a lot of just their art, and so people want to see more of a portfolio. Now it's more of I want to go to your Instagram to see your work. For like publishers and certain people who want that side, they don't want to see your life. So it's like I'm talking to 2 audiences, and so that's why I've started to separate it out. Of
the people on your personal account, how many of them would be prospective buyers for what you produce? Percentage-wise.
They'll buy, well, It's about 50 because I get a lot of.
Holy God, you need to still be putting your stuff out.
Yeah, it's
on your personal account, girl.
Because you could buy art or you could hire me as a designer. Like I do a variety of things. So
I'm a straight shooter. I have no dog in the race. But let me tell you, like if I were you, I would double down on doing everything that other people aren't. So if you're saying that now the big movement is for artists to have a separate account that's strictly portfolio driven, run the other way. The minute that everybody does something the some way, there's this big gap in the market. And coming from an artistic perspective, I want you to lean into all of who you are, because what you think you take for granted is you taking a snapshot of you at a coffee shop before you actually work on your art for the day. You will take a photo that's so unique and so rad and so beautiful. And if you talk about the inspiration that that cup of coffee is going to get you to later on in the studio, it's still a work of your art. Like to me, if I were you, I would double down on, if my audience was 50% potential buyers to hire me,
because it's hard to do 2 accounts.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And you're a creative.
Well, now I have 3. I have a character
Sweet
brand,
God.
a picture book, that a children's brand that has to have its own account, and it's like hard.
So, I mean, I do think there are ways that you can, if you wanted to, I'm not saying you should, if you wanted to merge them, you can also have designated hashtags so that if I was an editor and in your bio, you were to say, you can hashtag in your bio, you could say for latest work, hashtag, and then / life posts here. Like, we're savvy enough to go and be like, if I just want to see your stuff, I can click on that, and then that just brings up like a portfolio feed within your Instagram account. I think that that's doable. If you want something bad enough, the only thing now is on your personal account, the challenge then has to become everything you put out on behalf of your personal stuff has to look really freaking cool. But you can do that. You've already shown you have 2,000 people who like what you do. You could do it. You just have to like raise the bar personally, but to be able to double dip in your business, and I think it's going to win. I do. You do.
I'm going to kind of bounce off that because I have a challenge in that too. I have a personal, which has about a little under 3,000. And then I have a blog that I started for travel and lifestyle and adventure. And that has about 15,000. And I'm starting a podcast now. I'm kind of putting a halt on the blog. And the podcast is called What My Blog Is. So I'm not sure if I should post the podcast stuff on the blog one because it's named the same thing. It's following more or less the same concept. I put a lot of mindfulness in my posts, and it's pretty much that's what it's about. So I'm basically debating because like you said, it's very hard to manage too. So I'm wondering, is it bad to post on both, kind of promoting like the podcast episode? And I'm also wondering, is it better to keep it on my personal and just grow that, or should I just keep it on the blog one, which is the name of the podcast? I know that's a pretty
anytime
broad
that you
question,
can
but
synergize like what you're doing, I would 100% do it. I wouldn't put a pause on the blog because people are looking for, like, I believe to the best of our ability, our objective is to create as many touch points with our business as possible. So I would continue blogging because people don't necessarily blog for podcasts. People don't go on Google searching for podcasts necessarily. They'll search for top hotels in Bali. Yeah. And I think it's important that you still have content around that. And then if you have an ancillary like blog post, a blog post about the podcast, I think it's a total win.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, put it this way, I'm trying to focus on one thing opposed to, so that's why I put a little halt on the blog. But I am planning on putting on the same website, a section for my podcast and keeping the blog alive when I'm able to start inputting into that. But do you think I should just continue posting for the podcast on the blog page?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I totally, absolutely do because the metadata on blog is searchable. And I think that's going to be like a key point in getting like new subscribers.
Okay.
1,000%. Cool.
Thank you. You're so cute. Passion, love, pursuit.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Cool. I think we'll maybe just do a couple more questions. We have Girl, I'll take the mic. Thank you, Dimitri.
Hi. So I have a clothing line, and the clothing line is high-end. It's very pricey. Professional, very magazine-like, but the Instagram. But it doesn't have that personal aesthetic of anyone getting to know me, of being more real, like you said, where it's someone that's not all magazine-like. But it's a conflict for me because there's a lot of branding when you're someone at this level trying to compete with other designers at this level. So I don't expect to compete with the Yves Saint Laurent or Givenchy or Balmain, but I will be in an intermix next to a Chloe or a Stella or, you know, so I'm at that tier where branding is still very important. And so I don't know, is that the okay thing to do, that I'm showing so many images that are not my collection and that there is no personal aesthetic and it's just more magazine chic?
I think that there's no such thing as a right or wrong. It's going to be right or wrong for your customer. And if your customer can look at it and enjoy it and want to follow a feed that every other photo is going to be a photo that's not necessarily applicable to the thing that they're buying, and you could say that that's what they want, then perfect. But if you can't say that that's what they want and why they would follow your feed, you're going to have a hard time getting people to follow the feed. If I were you and I had 8 pieces, I would have a multitude of photo shoots with different models at different times. So you're creating your content, which I'm sure you're doing. And then I would actually flip the script. I would actually set up a photo shoot for myself as the designer every 6 weeks, all of it shot on black and white, entirely lifestyle. Because when you have an 8-piece collection, you're not selling clothes, you're selling you. And the minute you show that, and the minute that you show your level of sophistication, we buy from people who we perceive have taste, similar to ours or better. And if you're not showing that, you have a very hard time having somebody follow you. I think that you can create lifestyle imagery of what you are, like in your studio, the coffee that you drink, your favorite loafers, like a dog sitting next to you on the couch as you read, you by a pool, you making a cup of coffee, all professionally done photos. I don't think for your brand I would ever say like set up an iPhone. Mass majority of here, like get it done, set up an iPhone. But for you, you would have to invest in it, but it's going to be investing in collateral in your personal brand, which will then...
Okay, so IGTV.
Yes.
Where is it right now, and where do you see it going in the future?
IGTV is my current love child, let me tell you, because every time I see a social influencer do a poll on their Instagram stories, is anybody watching IGTV? See, I knew it. What a waste of time. And I'm like, perfect. Stay far, far away because there's more opportunities for me. IGTV is where the land is cheap and we want to build a high rise. There was a time where YouTube, no one was like, what is this? This is ridiculous. There was a time when Instagram stories came around and were like, this is so stupid. Who's ever going to use this? There was a time when Snapchat came around and people were like, wait, what the heck? Who is ever going to use this? Listen, I'm going there and I'm saying I'm going to double down where the attention is and the inventory is low. IGTV will be in art, like very competitive with YouTube. So much so that it's odd that YouTube now is allowing the ability to upload vertical videos immediately in response to IGTV's mandate for having vertical videos. So what do I think about it? I think it's amazing. What do I think about it? It takes a lot of time to create good content because what I see oftentimes business owners do is they'll just have one of those talking head videos. They put their camera up and they're like, okay guys, so I just got home from the gym. Oh, the trash man is out there. Okay, if you want to build your business, here are 3 main tips. Hold on. Number 1, and it's like, that is for IG stories and that is for IG live. That is not for IGTV. IGTV is brand extension that lives in perpetuity on Instagram. IGTV is something that sticks with you the way that your feed and your grid sticks with you. IG stories, IG live, they disappear. We don't have to be perfect. But I understand that IGTV, the major distinction is that I'm creating collateral that will sit there that people can surf when they want. Now, am I getting 20 to 30,000 views on a video? No. A lot of people don't even know it's there. But I trust that the powers that be at Instagram are finding all the ways we navigate Instagram, and every time they create a new update, like sometimes I'm in my feed, and all of a sudden there's a little bar that appears and it says, oh, one of the people I follow just uploaded an IGTV video. Oh. I don't have a business account on Instagram, but they're allowing us on stories to link to IGTV without a business account. Oh, so whenever I upload, like I did today, a video to IGTV, I'll go and get 3 to 4 15-second snippets, and then I will link to it with the swipe up feature to push traffic towards those videos. Am I getting 20 to 30,000 views? No. But guess what? Even if I got 10, and I get more than 10, but even if I got 10 views, you want to know what I would say? Good. That's 10 people who gave a rip about what I was saying and why I was saying it. Those 10 people are one micro conversion closer to becoming a paying customer. I'll take it all day, every day. You want to give me another arm to market my business for free? Yes. Thank you. I'll take it again and again. When we change our mindset and we understand that we've been given a radical gift by giving the ability to market our businesses, and it doesn't cost us anything but time and elbow grease and effort, it's amazing. We live in an amazing time as business owners, specifically as female entrepreneurs. Thank you guys so, so, so much. A big round of applause to the amazing Hillary for hosting, amazing Cleo. I appreciate you guys very, very, very much coming out on a Monday night in LA. It's awesome. Thank you.